Now, how would I go about doing this? Let's try to create a box for power surfacing. And I'm going to create it approximately the right size to begin with. And I'm just guesstimating here. Because it always kind of starts, it's nice working with something that has the sort of the initial correct size. And I know I'm going to need to divide it a few times. So I'm going to do it that way, and we'll see how far we get with that. And I'm going to say OK, and then just move it into place. And I'm going to move it in right here in front of the view, and it's going to be on top of it. So then we can design it right inside of there. So all right, now in order to design this, I'm going to turn on transparency and maybe knock it up quite a bit. Now I am making some effort to keep each of these things sort of perpendicular. Do not necessarily need to do that. Or planar, at least planar, because if it's not planar, let's say I grab a point and I move it, then it's not, A, it's not very symmetric, and B, then I have to select the box around here to move it. And I'd rather be able to select the box around the point so I can see kind of what's going on here. So, and if I happen to get it like this, where I have it sort of messed up a little bit, one thing I can do is I can grab that and I can say alignment, flatten in X. And that'll flatten that right out there. Now, one of the things I know I'm going to do here is that this top part is going to be here. So I can make that a crease. Yep. Okay. And the same is true with the bottom. So I'm going to make that a crease as well. And grab some of these faces and we'll move them up. Tell you what, let's design the shoe separately. The shoe bottom separately. So let's do this. One thing's becoming obvious. I'm going to need a little something in here. We'll take care of that in a minute. Let's shape it up a little bit more. You can see I'm probably going to need something more in here too. Yeah, it's pretty good in there actually. So let's do something here so that we can get this curvature back here and this curvature up here. So I'm going to select that and then I'm going to insert a loop. And that will give us much more freedom of movement back here and up here especially. So these guys can come down like this. Now, and so that that's pretty good. It's a little rough in here. I'm going to insert a loop there as well. And then I'm going to need to pull. Pull these guys up. Oops. To deselect, so when I select, I'll get just the vertices. Okay, one thing I want to do here is I want to change my transparency because it's a little harder to see. Okay, so now I can see that I definitely need to move this one up to right in there. This one needs to come down a little bit. This one needs to come back. See, that's having a hard time getting back here. Let's see if we... Oh. You know, that really does a good job there. That's one of the tricks, is that, you know, see here we have equal curvature on both sides of that, but as I pull down, then I get a higher curvature down in here than up here. And basically when you get two edges or two vertices closer to each other, produces a higher curvature. So let's take a look, let's see how that looks in the side view, the direct side view. Pretty close. Maybe it's a little outside. One of the things you can do when you're close like this, if you move it back to underneath, and then move it out until it just covers. Then you're getting real close. Alright, so what's happening here? This one is not quite up. This one is not quite up high enough. And again here, you know, we can kind of help it out by moving it in different spots. So overall, that's pretty darn good in that direction. So then we'll start on the other direction, and obviously we got a little bit of work to do. Let's do this. Obviously I'm going to have to move both of these down. Both of these up. Make sure that you are moving them in just the direction you want to move them in. By grabbing the one arrow. See, that was not horribly painful, was it? We're already getting kind of close. And it looks like we're going to need just a little bit more going on here. So I am going to double click here, and I'm going to insert a loop, and then grab these, and oops, meant to grab the vertices. Grab these, pull them out a little bit. You see how we have to pick a little bit of larger box when we have these things aren't lined up quite as nicely. And by the way, this is going to affect how the other parts look, so don't be afraid to you have to go back in the other view and change them once in a while too. Okay, so I think you guys got to go out a little bit more. Right out into there anyways. One of the tricks here is to move the fairly large things so that they're where they need to be, and then do further adjustments on the shorter ones, the ones that are already closer. And you know, if you adjust two of them, you may have to go back and adjust the other one a little bit. So it's a little bit of an iterative process to get this done. See, that's real good. Okay, so I'm probably going to need something in here. Oh, that's... yeah, so notice how I dragged all these guys back there to get that working? Well, I'm going to do that. And then because if I insert an extra loop here, probably won't need to do that as much. Alright, so let's see this stuff here. Guess I didn't do it as good as I thought. See how those two are about equidistance? So I can just pull them down. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. How's it looking in this direction? Okay, so when we did this, kind of messed it up a little bit, but I don't think that's going to hurt too bad. So it should be pretty easy to correct now that we got the extra geometry in here. I'm not so sure the toe is lined up quite right. We may have to choose between which toe orientation we want. See how I'm doing that? I'm just pulling. Okay, then I can see it, and then I go up over it like that. All right, that's looking pretty good. Again, both of those views, it looks pretty good. Okay, so here we need to be out in here, and down here we are here. Yeah, I think the all right, now so I've got the shape pretty much where I want it, and so I'm going to go over here and see if I can turn off the sketches. And in order to do this, in order to do that operation, one of the things you need to do is you need to go say Tools, Power Surfacing, Options, and you need to disable Solidworks blocking. Otherwise, you can't do operations like I just did. So this should change that. So now let's take a look at everything in sub-D mode with transparency off. Now, obviously, we've got a lot of work to do because what we've done is we've designed for the outside, and the inside is not what I mean. So we've designed for the maximum. So I'm going to kind of assume that the maximum is this edge here. So I'm going to leave this guy in place, And then I'm going to adjust some of these other things. For example, I'm going to take these edges here, and I'm going to scale them in and probably push them down. And I may have to go back and adjust it if I do that. So let's try it again. Let's try these two. Let's push these two edges down. So I may have to go back and adjust again. So these two vertices, I definitely want to scale into each other, and maybe move it that way a little bit. And I think on the bottom, it appears to me that most of the stuff on the bottom is going to be smaller than the middle, and I would say the same thing for the top. So these edges on the top, I'm going to scale those in, and because it's left-footed, maybe we'll move them over a little bit. So what does this look like in Solidworks? Let's take a quick look. So we have some very nice topology in SolidWorks. So that's a very well-shaped shoe. And that's one way to do it. And so if we edit this again, one of the final things we can do here is we can grab these faces, delete them, and then I'm going to, it's going to be leather, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a thickness using the thicken tool. And let's see, 4. Okay, so that's going outward, and I really want to go inward, so let's say -4. And so that gives you the shoe thickness there. So now we have the top of the shoe fairly well designed, actually. And if we convert, we're back in SolidWorks. And we can do a section. Turn the section off. There, now we're done. So that's just how to design the one part of the shoe. There's a lot more steps that we could go through there, but that's all we have for this video.